Well,
Yeah.
let's play this clip of Karoline Leavitt, because I'm curious as to what your feelings are as to why they are so like, what is it? What's their angle on the no kings thing? You know, like George Bush famously, when we had millions of people in the street in the run up to the Iraq War, he said, you know, I'm not going to decide on some type of what did he call it? Like a focus group testing on whether I should go to war or not. I mean, of course, the other way to say that is like, well, we live in a democratic country, and
Right.
you know, if the people aren't interested in, you know, you avenging your father's honor, maybe we shouldn't do this. But they seem to be very, very worried about this No Kings rally, or they think they can make something of it. Here's Karoline Leavitt, White House press secretary, yesterday on Fox News.
Proved that the Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans, not just across the country, but around the world. And that proved that the Democrat...
Okay, first off, they're standing up for Americans all around the world. The expat constituency, or is she just like, you know, she's just like in overdrive?
Maybe she wants to open borders.
They have been spending they have been spending a lot of time saying that it's all going to be Hamas people showing up at the No Kings.
Antifa, Hamas, and terrorists.
What is your sense of their angle with this?
Well, it's clearly a talking point. We know that much because every single
one of them
has come out and used this kind of incendiary language. So, I mean, it's you know, first of all, let me just, the rank hypocrisy, and I know that hypocrisy no longer applies, shamelessness is their superpower, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the idea that after what they did after the Charlie Kirk murder, going out and, you know, ordering their, you know, foot soldiers to dox and, you know, track down and inform on anybody who said something sideways about Charlie Kirk and get them fired and do all that because, and then with their big sanctimonious, you know, paeans to civility and how we have to stop the terrible language. The fact that the whole leadership of the Republican Party is out there calling Democrats, not the politicians, the actual people, you know, the protesters, the voters, people like us, we're all Hamas now. We're all terrorists. We're all Antifa. That's basically what they're saying. It's, I mean, the overwhelming, you know, hypocrisy of that is beyond, especially after the, you know, just don't call them deplorables. That's the only thing, the word you can't use. But in any case, why are they doing it? I think there's possibly two reasons. The first is I think that they may be trying to intimidate people into not coming out by saying, you know, making it into this big thing. The second is, you know, I don't know what there might be some plans. I mean, I know that Greg Abbott said today that he's sending in the National Guard to Austin for the No Kings protest.
I gotta say,
am I being paranoid?
No, I gotta say, and we were talking about this before the show. The likelihood, I mean, look, we know they have, that we have seen in the past. We saw this even during BLM. You will get agitators, instigators who will be in these crowds at times. I've seen images of like conservative influencers, you know, all dressed in black, like they're going to do, you know, like cat burglars going out there to represent Antifa, you know, soldiers or something. The idea that there would either be a concerted effort to infiltrate these protests and create and make them violent, or the idea that there are conservative sort of self-appointed warriors who would go in there and attempt to make it violent, seems to me to be more than likely.
They did it in Trump 1.0. Trevor Aronson had great reporting on FBI agents or undercover informants being sent into Black Lives Matter protests and trying to get them to incite violence. You think that with this FBI, Kash Patel, they're not trying that many times over. So if you're going to one of these protests, I just want everybody to be extremely careful. If anybody is trying to incite you to do anything violent or illegal, definitely don't. It could be a provocateur.
And make sure also that you're videotaping what's going on there. You got your phone and whatnot. But I mean, our adopted catchphrase for the show, "Left is best," which was started as a joke, because in the wake of Trump's victory in 2016, some dude from Connecticut went to a school and vandalized the school and wrote all over it like, anarchy and left is best. And the day that was done,
like a yearbook thing.
Yeah, we started laughing because that is not and Matt, I think you're looking it up, but we can pop that up there. So this is an impulse by these people, even if it's not the FBI. There is an impulse amongst these people.
Oh, think of the Proud Boys or the Boogaloo Boys or these kind of pip folks, and they're still out there. In fact, they're reinvigorated.
Here we go.
Yeah, here it is. A grown man in Connecticut says he graffitied a playground to embarrass liberals. Left is best was the slogan, which is of course, the cri de coeur of all leftists around the world.
It gets me going every time I hear it.
You vandalized a free library.
But this is the impulse that these people have, and I want to encourage people, go to these protests. They're going to be, if they're anything like the last one, they're just going to be, very chill protests. A lot of people are going to get out there. You're going to hear some speeches depending on, where you go. Somebody was asking, would you go to a protest at a capital versus a small town? And my answer is I would probably go to where there's, more likely going to be media. Obviously, if you can't drive, it's still good to go out to your local protest, because you're going to build, within that community,
I think it matters
more people.
To go to a local protest.
Yeah. But either way, I think they're nervous about this idea because, in part too, because of there's a lot of authoritarian stuff that's going on, and authoritarian regimes do not like there to be sort of like the opportunity to protest them. I mean, we're watching right now. They're installing at the IRS the failed so-called whistleblower who had the Hunter Biden. Yeah, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about that guy, because they've been active seem to have no compunction in saying the IRS is going to go after Act Blue. It's going to go after all sorts of
Indivisible, the group I mean, they're not sponsoring the No Keen. All they're doing is organizing online, the providing the mechanism for people to sign up for protests and to see where they are. That's really all it is. And some messaging coming out every once in a while. I get some text, but it's not. That's all it is. Of course, Trump says they're Antifa. This is the Antifa network that Stephen Miller is going after, is Indivisible, which you'll recall was put together after the Women's March. And it was basically just an upstart grassroots organization that, one of those that came up after when Trump was elected, that was about to get out the vote. And it has grown into this organization which organizes protests around the country. I mean, it could not be more, innocent. There's absolutely nothing about Indivisible. It's mostly, and it was started, I think, by a bunch of suburban women, if I'm not mistaken, that came out of the Women's March. This guy Shapley, it was an IRS employee who blew the whistle on Hunter Biden, and he was a big MAGA hero. They put him in, shockingly, when Trump came in, they put him in as the IRS commissioner. And everybody went, holy, what? Are you kidding? And he only lasted 3 days. And I don't know that anybody has ever figured out exactly what happened there. But he's back. And he's in the IRS again. And he is apparently going to be running this operation, which they say will include thousands of agents from the Criminal Investigation Unit. These are IRS agents who, like carry weapons and stuff. I'm surprised they're not rousting,
that's the thing.
immigrants.
How many could be
in
left?
Chicago.
Because they
I mean,
are literally out on the streets, patrolling DC at different times or tearing mothers away from their kids.
Exactly. They're going to have a full plate. Let's put it that way. And of course, and then you have Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary. He's also saying crazy stuff. I mean, right on those same talking points we were just talking about. He went on CNBC, and I think it was some podcast, maybe it was the Charlie Kirk podcast, I think, that he went on and started talking about the Antifa and the terrorists and how they're going to go after him like they went after Al Qaeda, and they're going to use the IRS to do it. I mean, so he's totally bought into this strategy, whatever it is. And I think they're fairly serious about this. They talk, who are the things they name? It's what you said, Act Blue, George Soros, of course. I mean, that poor guy, he's 95 years old, but whatever. He's the leader of our resistance movement. Act Blue and Indivisible and some others. Well, here's the real kicker, and it just cracked me up. Apparently, the FBI went to Glenn Beck and asked him for advice on who they should go after. And I don't know. Emma, I don't know if this goes back before you're paying, close attention, because it goes back maybe 20 years. But Glenn Beck, it wasn't even that long ago. But
No, it was about 15. He was on CNN, right? This is when CNN, or was it on Fox? I can't remember
it was
where
when he moved to Fox, and
Okay.
and it was super popular. His show was it was the big one. I mean, it was like the Tucker Carlson of its day. And he would do this thing where he would do called the Puppet Masters. And he had a blackboard where
with
he
his
would
board
write the names.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm
so you
I'm
do
enough of
remember
a
it.
sicko
yeah.
to remember that,
Okay.
even as a
it-
12-year-old or whatever.
If I'm not mistaken, it involved he thought in Rockefeller Center, there was a mural that laid out all the plans.
That's
And
right.
back
It was
then,
all there.
Back then, it wasn't Antifa, as he calls it. It was Saul Alinsky, and everybody
it
was
was
an
Saul Alinsky,
Alinskyite.
yeah.
Everybody was an
People-
Alinskyite. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.